Also still to join the action, Mika Hakkinen. And here comes Michael Schumacher for his final go at taking pole position for the San Marino Grand Prix. Is Mika Hakkinen going to make it 3 in a row, having taken pole in Australia, in Brazil 2 weeks ago? Is he going to do it here in San Marino? Well, we'll know very, very shortly. Just 3.5 minutes to go here as Rubens Barrichello takes on a flying lap, and Ralf Schumacher is in trouble. Smoke billowing there from the back of his BMW-powered Williams. So the session over for Ralf Schumacher, and he was just on his out lap, so Ralf didn't get his final flyer in. Rubens Barrichello on his last attacking lap, and he's 0.09 of a second down on Hakkinen's time, but of course he could easily make that up. Rubens Barrichello driving hard, missing the apex ever so slightly there, a little bit late on the brakes, but he carried decent speed through the corner nonetheless. Barrichello now attacking from 7th position, and he has improved his first sector time substantially. But can he keep the momentum going through Sector 2? Rubens Barrichello, his first year with Ferrari, of course, took second place at the Australian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, went out of the Brazilian Grand Prix with a mechanical failure, and now he's over 0.3 of a second down on Hakkinen's time. But that could be good enough for 4th place.
Yeah. Peter, sorry, that just looks, it's good enough. We saw Frentzen improve his time, and Frentzen didn't improve his position. Jarno Trulli has improved his time. He's got by Rubens Barrichello 26.0 into 7th place, just ahead of Barrichello. Villeneuve has moved up to 9th place. 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go, and they're all out there, and they're all putting in fast times. Just listen to this engine scream.
Yes, 4th place was on the cards, and he achieved it. Rubens Barrichello goes to the 2nd row of the grid. Is he going to make it 3 fours in a row? Because that's where he's qualified for the last 2 races. Is he going to do it again? A super lap by Rubens, hanging on to 4th place for the moment. But Mika Hakkinen still our pole sitter. Michael Schumacher attacking with just 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session for the San Marino Grand Prix. Hakkinen is our pole sitter, Schumacher 2nd, Coulthard 3rd. Barrichello has just moved up to 4th. Ralf Schumacher therefore slips to 5th. Frentzen is in 6th place, but look at this for a start by Michael Schumacher, and what is his final flying lap? Out of the way there, because this is a crucial moment for Michael Schumacher. Heidfeld not involved at the sharp end of the grid whatsoever. He's way down in 22nd position and struggling with the car. As you can see, Marc Genet, by the way, got a better time in. He used Gaston Mazzacana's car, and he's well within a 107% pole position. So he will have all 22 cars on the grid. But Michael Schumacher, is he going to take pole position? He was up through Sector 1, and he's still up through Sector 2. And he's very strong over the final few turns now into Variante Alta, and heading down now towards Rivazza for the final time. Michael Schumacher in 2nd place right now. His best of the day so far, 1:24.860. That was 0.03 of a second slower than Hakkinen's pole position time. But now it looks as though the German could do it. But remember, Mika Hakkinen is still out there. He's still 1 flying lap to complete. So this session is not over by any means as Michael Schumacher comes through Traguardo for the final time and out onto the main straight. Schumacher across the line, and he does it. Pole position for Michael Schumacher, and the Tifosi erupt here in front of us. 1:24.805. What a lap to pull out of the bag in the dying moments, but it's not over yet. Mika Hakkinen with a lap to complete. He crosses the line now, and he can still complete 1 more flying lap. So this really is last-minute stuff from Mika Hakkinen. But if he doesn't get through Sector 1 faster than Michael Schumacher, he really is going to be under an awful lot of pressure for the rest of the lap. So heading down towards Sector 1, having come through the Tamburello chicane, and he's down. He's down by 0.08 of a second. Well, that really is touch and go at the moment. He might be able to get it back, but it really all depends on what adjustments they've made to the car. He pushed really hard on his previous best flyer, which brought him that lap of 1:0. But have the adjustments, have they benefited Mika Hakkinen? We'll see now very shortly. 0.09 down through Sector 1. That's almost 1/10 of a second. I don't have to point that out to you, but that is quite a substantial margin for that very short first sector. But has he been able to improve? Well, he improves ever so slightly. Now, 800. Well, it's remained constant, and he's lost time there, far too far out over the curbing and out onto the grass, and Mika Hakkinen will have lifted to remain in control, but it looks like he's not going to make it 3 pole positions in a row. Michael Schumacher has delighted the Tifosi. Can he hold on to that pole position? It's in the lap of the gods now. Hakkinen is down on his previous best, unless he has pulled something extraordinary out of his bag. Through Rivazza for the out onto the straight, really pushing hard. Hakkinen, what a drive by the Finnish driver, and look at those celebrations. What a dramatic finish to qualifying for the San Marino. So Mika Hakkinen had lost pole position, down through sector 1, down through sector 2, and unbelievably he pulled it back through Rivazza, Variant Tabassa, and out of that final chicane. Look at that for determination. And remember, that's where he lost it last year, under power, coming out of the final chicane. And this is the big home. You're very welcome to Imola for the San Marino Grand Prix. It may only be round 3 of this year's World Championship, but one can't emphasize strongly enough how important this race is for McLaren Mercedes. Michael Schumacher has 20 points, David Coulthard and Mika Hakkinen yet to score, so it really is imperative for the McLaren team to pick up some valuable points here at Imola this weekend. Well, speaking of Michael Schumacher, he was in Ireland recently as a guest of Alfa Romeo at the Cuero Sportivo exhibition of classic cars in Dublin, and we caught up with him there for an exclusive interview with RTE.
I wasn't expected to be in a Formula 1 car in this year. It was a maybe and a big question mark whether the following year there could be the first opportunity to maybe test and do something. But then when Bertrand Gachot had his problem, and it gave the opportunity to jump into this car. And even then, when I heard about it, somehow I live in a realistic world and I only believe things that really happen. And I didn't believe until the moment we had signed something and I was actually sitting in the car and driving it around. So I was very much surprised that it came to me finally and I was able to use it. New people had arrived, like Ross Brawn, from Tom Walkinshaw being introduced, Rory Byrne, and being completely unexperienced about this business, it was very difficult to understand how good they were, what they were going to do out of this team. So I just had a contract, was happy to sit in the car. I scored my first points in this last part of '91, and just looking forward to improve. And so we did, and we had a spectacular year when I remember we took out the B194 at 94 onto the circuit in Silverstone, and I had a reference to the old car before, and when I drove that car immediately I thought, well, that's going to be a very, very good car. Not thinking winning the championship, I mean that was still far away, but at least battling and winning a race and doing a good job, that was my kind of thinking. And then actually we got a championship out of it. If he gets a car, he will do the job. And that's what it's down to. I mean, in Benetton, if you look back to 92, 93, I didn't have a car, and so I wasn't able to go for a championship. But one day, I mean, BMW will be good and Williams back to old performance, and I'm sure he can do it. He has a good teammate now on his side, so both will push each other, and as we have seen good results already in the first part of the race and season from him, give it another 2 years, I think, and they will be back on the road. I know it's a very good car. We can see it now. We were able to compete against McLaren. We weren't expecting to beat them straight away, so that they didn't have a chance. We knew it would still be a tight business, and it is indeed. And we're lucky to some degree they stopped, but nevertheless I believe we still have a chance to beat them even straight and square on the circuit, and I hope we can prove that through the season.
How important are Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne and indeed Jean Todt in the whole Ferrari equation at the moment?
You see, it's like football. It's a team sport. It's not a single-man sport, and these people are major important. If you imagine what you see on Sunday is just the last bit of all the preparation, all the work we do through all the year, the winter and the testing. I mean, it's such a huge effort from all our mechanics, engineers in particular, being responsible technical side, Ross Brawn and John Todt and Rory Byrne design side. These guys are phenomenal, and I really have to say, particularly when it goes to strategy, Ross Brawn is the man. I'm expecting them to be on the road in Imola and making us life difficult, and not expecting for their reliability problems that they will continue. I'm expecting they will finish races and here and there beat us, and I hope here and there we beat them. End of the day, that we can make it. But this 20 points lead we have now, it's an important cushion for mistakes we do or problems we might have. I mean, realistically, we should have the opportunity to win this race. We will be strong enough. But as it is such a tight situation, May Imola, it could matter much more who is on pole position than other races, because overtaking is so limited, in Imola in particular. So it depends the circumstance they will race. Maybe we have a rain race, maybe a mixed race, maybe we have a mechanical failure, but out of the typical static situation, statistic situation, we should have a chance to win the race and make it a triple. I knew that he was going to go with a Yamaha engine the next year, and I didn't really want to go into this period because I knew this Yamaha engine, so I've luckily found a way to move out and go to Benetton, and looking at it right now, it was the best thing I could have done, even though I wasn't happy to leave Eddie because he gave me the first opportunity to show my talent, and that gave me obviously the next step. But there was no other way, and if you then have to terminate contracts and so, you don't go through the nicest period. But so much time has gone by, and I have to say I still have a very good relation to Eddie. I mean, he understood finally that was the right thing for me to do, and he tried the right thing for him, which wasn't the same. Unfortunately, Eddie wasn't very nice in this situation. I mean, in the year Ralph drove for him, they had quite a lot of technical problems and failures, and on the other side, Ralph was young and have done some mistakes. And I think until Silverstone, they didn't have even a point. And he forced him in a way that if he wouldn't have points until a certain time, he would take him out of the team. And it's not a very nice approach for a young driver to make him actually confident. You make him much under pressure, and I didn't like this approach, and because of this situation, both of them had fallen out, and I don't think that he actually wanted to stay there any longer. I have had a great time with Eddie, I have to say. Really, it has been, I say, most of the time a pleasure to work with him. There have been moments where he thought, well, he could behave a little bit better, but in general, we have had really good time, and he has been good to the team. He has always been loyal to the team and supportive. And it has been a tough time for him to be in Ferrari, for the reason that when he started, Ferrari was so disorganized that we hardly got miles for testing, and we didn't have 2 cars for testing, only 1 car for testing, and all of these factors made it very difficult for him. We're still looking for the tire protection, which is simply the fact that you avoid, if you have tire contact with another car, to have cars airborne. I remember Fittipaldi in '93 in Monza, or Patrese, I think in '91 or '92 in Estoril, or Brundle in Melbourne 3-4 years ago. Things like this I see as the most significant danger, not only for the driver as well for the spectators, because if a car starts to be airborne, it is very difficult to control and to know which direction it's going to go, and maybe one day it's going to go into the crowd. And that is something I believe the FIA really has to look into and get sorted out, this risk. We are paid to some degree to accept the risk. We obviously try to minimize that as well, but spectators is a different story. I'm not seeing my life continuing in Formula One as what, for example, Alain Prost is doing, or things like this. This is not my thinking of my future. Neither I want to risk my life in America, honestly, because I think that is a very dangerous sport we see there. More dangerous to my mind than what we do here in Formula One. So I have no intention to do any of this.
Yes, as always, very frank and positive Michael Schumacher. Well, how positive would he be in qualifying for the San Marino Grand Prix? He faced a stiff battle from Mika Hakkinen. Let's see how it all shaped up yesterday.
But it looks like we're shaping up for a McLaren front row once again, and this will be a great satisfaction to maintain this incredible performance, particularly in the land of Ferrari. They certainly didn't want to give them a home advantage by getting on the front row, again because of the nature of this circuit. Chicanes, and he gets it a little bit sideways, would have lost a fraction of a second there. We'll see very second. He's first, like 0.5 of a second. Fantastic performance, fastest segment time on every individual segment. Eddie Irvine coming back after a fantastic performance up into 5th place, exactly 1 second now behind, a 1 second .09 behind Mika Hakkinen, and a fraction behind Ralf Schumacher. There's only 5/6 hundredths of a second between Irvine and Ralf Schumacher to get him up into 4th place. Peter, sorry, that's it's good enough. We saw Frentzen improve his time, and Frentzen didn't improve his position. Jarno Trulli has improved his time. He's got by Rubens Barrichello 26.0 into 7th place, just ahead of Barrichello. Villeneuve has moved up to 9th place. 2 minutes 30 seconds to go, and they're all out there, and they're all putting in fast times. Just listen to this engine scream.
Yes, 4th place was on the cards, and he achieved it. Rubens Barrichello goes to the 2nd row of the grid. Michael Schumacher in 2nd place right now. His best of the day so far, 1:24.860. That was 0.03 of a second slower than Hakkinen. But now it looks as though the German could do it. But remember, Mika Hakkinen is still out there. He's still 1 flying lap to complete. So this session is not over by any means, as Michael Schumacher comes through Traguardo for the final time and out onto the main straight. Schumacher across the line, and he does it. Pole position for Michael Schumacher. And the Tifosi erupt here in front of us. 1:24.805. What a lap to pull out of the bag in the dying moment. But it's not over yet. Mika Hakkinen with a lap to complete. He crosses the line now, and he can still complete 1 more flying lap. So this really is last-minute stuff from Mika Hakkinen. But if he doesn't get through Sector 1 faster than Michael Schumacher, he really is going to be under an awful lot of pressure for the rest of the lap. So heading down towards Sector 1, having come through the Tamburello chicane, and he's down. He's down by 0.08 of a second. Well, that really is touch and go at the moment. He might be able to get it back, but it really all depends on what adjustments they... lap of 1:24.830. But have the adjustments they've made to the McLaren, have they benefited Mika Hakkinen? We'll see now very shortly. 900ths down through sector 1. That's almost a tenth of a second. I don't have to point that out to you, but that is quite a substantial margin for that very short first sector. But has he been able to improve? Well, he improves ever so slightly. Now 800ths of a second between them. Well, it's remained constant, and he's lost time there, far too far out over the curbing and out onto the grass, and Mika Hakkinen will have missed it so as to remain in control, but it looks like he's in trouble. It looks like he's not going to make it 3 pole positions in a row. Michael Schumacher has delighted the Tifosi. Can he hold on to that pole position? It's in the lap of the gods now. Hakkinen is down on his previous best, unless he has pulled something extraordinary out of the bag through Rivazza for the final time. Out onto the straight, really pushing hard, and he's done it! Amazing final sector from Mika Hakkinen. What a drive by the Finnish driver, and look at those celebrations. Mika Hakkinen taking his 24th career pole, 3rd consecutive pole position of the season. Alongside him on the front row tomorrow, Michael Schumacher. 3rd, David Coulthard. 4th, Rubens Barrichello. 5th, Ralf Schumacher. 6th, Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Eddie Irvine, 7th. Jarno Trulli, 8th. Jacques Villeneuve, 9th. And Pedro Diniz, 10th.
And I'm very upset about myself because I have made a very bad mistake in my 3rd run, which I was 4/10 up to our telemetry. And I just destroyed it, which it would have been very easy to be on pole today for us, honestly, but that's the way it is. And being in the first row gives me some pleasure, but not the pleasure I was expecting and I was trying to give to all the Tifosis here and to the team, which worked fantastically.
Yeah, you saw on the pole position conference how he was. His body language told you everything. You didn't have to listen to him. He was really hurting. And if you